Welcome to video number 2, all about winter plant care here in Southeast Queensland. I realised while I was making the part 1 video, I haven't done a plant update for what feels like a really long time. So today is all about just nerding out over plants. I've got quite a few plants surrounding me that I can't wait to show you. Some of them are just favourites that are making me smile. Others have a little bit of a story to them or may not be doing so well while they're in rehab. And then I've also got 2 late additions to share with you. My husband went to Bunnings yesterday to purchase a fire pit for our back area, and he came home with 2 new plants for me. That was a really nice surprise. Grab a hot drink, maybe do some of your plant care chores, and let's check out some of my favourite plants for winter. So I had filmed the bulk of this video a few days ago, and then yesterday my husband said to me, we need to go to Bunnings, one of my very favourite places. And my husband spotted a propagation tray that was only $9.95. I've never owned a propagation tray, so he's picked it up and put it in the trolley, and it's fantastic. I've already filled it up with plants, of course. I'll put a picture up here for you guys because I've actually got it up on my entry wall, which is quite tall. I need a chair to get up there, and I'm really excited to see how that goes because I used to have all of these little individual propagation pots, and it's already saving so much space for me. I'm actually thinking about getting 2 or 3 more. And then right next to the fire pit area was actually the plant area, very convenient. And I've been wanting a ZZ Raven. I'll have to put the name up here for you. Here in Australia, we call them something to do with jungle. And one of my plant club friends had given me the tiniest little propagation. Look, it's going okay. It's got some roots, but it's also looking, the end of the stem is not looking that good. It didn't have any of the rhizome on it. I've had a 50-50 success rate with previous ZZ plants, just the plain green ones, when I've just had the stem. I don't have the highest success rate with these. But in Bunnings, I think it was about $20 or $25. This is just a little bit of it. Look at that. So it's already bigger than the propagation that I've got. And this is just the bit that broke off when I potted it. It was probably in a 15 centimetre pot. I'll put a photo up here for you guys. I've potted it next to my Niki on the front patio where I've been looking for plants to plant that aren't going to be completely destroyed by caterpillars and grasshoppers in summer. So you can imagine, well, hopefully the photo will do it justice, but this contrasted against the Taniki leaves. I can't wait to see them both really grow. So the rest of the plant is out on my front patio. So excited. Look at the dark. Oh, I can't believe that we've just walked past one in Bunnings, a Wishlist plant. So good. And I guess it takes a little bit of the pressure off for this one as well. I've got this one here, and I've got 2 or 3 other little propagations around the house. Oh my goodness, it was so root bound. I actually had to cut the pot away. Normally I soak them in water for a little bit. I put them in a container of water, and then if that doesn't work, just hose and hose, and normally it'll loosen up the soil. But this was so root bound, I actually had to cut the pot off it, and so some of the leaves fell off, but just gives me lots of propagations, and hopefully I can share some with Plant Club as well. So that was a really nice surprise yesterday. And then the second lovely surprise, just as we were going to leave, we walked past this syngonium. Look how dark the leaves are. Can you guys see it? Look at the colour. And I just love syngoniums, are one of my very favourite genus. I do really enjoy their growing style because this is on a trellis, but it can also trail beautifully. I probably will very quickly teach it to trail instead of trellis. Look at the colours on the backs. Very similar to the colour of that Philodendron that I recently purged that had the thicker stems and that growth pattern that I didn't really enjoy. And it's like it was meant to be because now I've got that beautiful colour and the dark leaf on the front, but it's in a syngonium. And I just find in this house, it seemed to go really, really well. So I'm hoping this is going to be the same. Haven't quite decided where it's going to go yet. I thought I'm just going to let it get acclimatized. I did repot it straight away. I well and truly broke my 6-month rule with this one. It's already in a self-watering pot. Just because syngoniums grow so well for me, I feel like out of a lot of the genuses, I've got so many different types of syngoniums. I feel quite familiar with them, and I was confident enough to repot straight away. So at the moment, this is in our other bathroom underneath some grow lights, and I'll leave that there for a while just to let it acclimatize, learn its watering habits, and then hopefully I can take some propagations and spread this around the house a bit because that's definitely going to add some of that beautiful color. Wow, couldn't believe my luck. And it's not in its original pot. Actually, its original pot was a lot larger when I washed the dirt off. I only repotted this morning. It was quite a small root ball, so I actually downsized the pot. This pot is a lot smaller than the pot that it actually came in just so the roots are a little bit more snug, which I find plants often prefer. What a lovely surprise. So between the prop box, which I really needed, but same, I just used to make do, and now my husband's already talking about helping me find a spot for some more prop boxes, which is just going to make my life so much easier. And then 2 more beautiful dark leaf plants to add some pops of color through the rest of my collection. So exciting. We've got a history, this plant and I. It's got a bit of a story with it. Let me show you. I don't know if you're even going to be able to see it. It's a little Christmas cactus, and there's actually even a second piece just in there. It is so tiny, you probably can't even see it. This is my last ditch attempt to save this plant. So I've got it in one of my little makeshift humidity containers. It's a really pretty glass jar actually. And when I'm not filming in here, there's actually there's a grow light just above me. So this is in my usual chunky mix, but it's got a lot more perlite in it. Whenever I'm propagating a plant, so I'm treating this as though I'm propagating it, I always put some additional perlite in. I'm just keeping the mixture moist, but not soggy. So this plant was going really, really well. So my dad passed away last year, and he used to have beautiful gardens, and it was one of the plants that I kept from him. The Christmas cactus that I got from my dad was probably an 80 centimeter pot. It was absolutely huge. And I just kept moving it around. It was so big. I just didn't have anywhere to put it. So I thought, well, I'll take some propagations. It was sort of in my plant parent journey when I was just sort of learning. I was starting to get a little bit more of an idea about what to do, although far from an expert. Always remember that. Just a crazy plant lady who loves talking about plants. I really didn't have a lot of an idea what I was doing, but I took 1 or 2 clippings and it was going really well. It looked amazing. So I put it in our back area under the perspex. And so put it in the cover pot. Most of my cover pots, I steal my husband's drill all the time, and I always make sure I drill a hole in it. So I must have missed this one. Didn't realize because I just assumed it had a hole in the bottom of it. Put the Christmas cactus in. The summer rains came, but the pot was filling up with water. So I basically drowned it. By the time I realized what was happening, by the time it started looking sick, I pulled it out of the pot and the roots were just mush. But I managed to revive it. It started coming back. It even had 1 or 2 flower buds on it. And then I went away on holidays and it got overwatered. So when we went away on holidays in February, it was an inexperienced plant sitter who was doing me a massive favor. It was my brother-in-law who was looking after our dogs, and so he said, "Oh, look after your plants." This is what's left. And it's been struggling ever since. And it's just, I don't know if you know Christmas cactuses, but it's even thin, like just even to feel it, it doesn't have the thickness. This is all. But I do have roots. So Christmas cactuses here in Australia, or in Southeast Queensland anyway, they're so easy to get. They're so cheap at the nursery. And actually, we have been starting to get more variegated types as well. And, you know, I joke that variegation is my middle name, so I would actually really love a variegated one as well. So, yeah, I could totally just go and buy another plant, but this is my dad's plant, so I really want it to do well. I'm giving it its very best chance. This method has brought back a number of my plants that I didn't think were going to come back. I've just got my fingers crossed with this one. There's a plant above me that I wanted to share with you in winter because this was one of my plant mail videos. I can't remember how many months ago. I think it was my Boxing Day one actually. And I saw it online and I thought, who doesn't need one of these? And it's one of, they call it a Frizzle Sizzle or a Sizzle Frizzle, I can't remember. But I fell in love with this. This is a succulent. And when it's been getting enough sun, the thing that interests me to start with was it said that its key growth period is actually in winter, not summer. It's the reverse to most of our other plants. That interested me to start with. But also, if it's getting enough light and it's growing well, oh goodness, it's looking good. See the twisties? So the whole plant, if the plant's doing well, it's got the twisties. And the reason that I wanted to show it to you is you can see it's not all twisted. Some of these are actually just a little bit wavy. And that's because I thought that I had it in a really good location. Over summer, I just had it sitting in a really nice location in our backyard underneath our macadamia nut tree, which is a bit of a plant hospital for me, but plants love it. They get beautiful filtered light for a lot of the day. In this room, there's a window just there, and we get beautiful morning light coming in winter. So I sat it on the windowsill because I thought that way when I'm in here, I can see it and it's getting a lot of light, but the light wasn't enough because what happened within a very short period of time of me putting it in here, these leaves, fronds, started going straight. So it was a really good sign to me that even though I thought it was getting enough light, it obviously wasn't, particularly because it's in its peak growing season and it's such a funky plant. I think it's a funky plant. So what I've done is I've actually put it up here. Just above me here is a plant shelf and above that is a grow light. And so I've put it really close to one of the grow lights, and within, This is probably curled within 2 or 3 weeks of me doing that already. These were quite straight. A lot of them were very, very straight when I brought it inside. So just even having a little bit of curl. So I'm hoping now that I've put it closer to the grow light, it'll just keep curling up for me. And hopefully in one of the next planting updates, I'll have lots and lots of curls happening on this one. But I thought that was a really good one to show you, just of a plant that really quickly told me, Mel, if you're not giving me enough light, those fronds leaves went straight pretty quickly. It's healthy still, it's just not doing the curly thing. The next plant that I wanted to show you is behind me, and it's just a little propagation. Remember many videos ago, I was up on a ladder and I took some propagations from Rhaphidophora that's behind me, and I've had them just in water. I've just had them in water propagation. Well, finally the roots got big enough that I've put them in my chunky mix. So these are the propagations, for anyone who saw that video. And so I've got them in my chunky mix, just like my Christmas cactus. I'm controlling the moisture in here, so I haven't put it in self-watering and I haven't added it to the parent plant yet. The idea is, if I move my pothos out of the way, and my pens, yes, now you can see. So this part of the trunk is quite bare, and for anyone who's heard me tell the story of this before, this Rhaphidophora and I have also had a really long journey, as in when it was small, I really struggled to find a place in the house where it was happy. And so a lot of these leaves were small, yellow, fully formed. So I've actually cut them all off. They just weren't healthy. And then it wasn't until I moved it into our other bathroom underneath the grow lights that it went absolutely crazy. And then since I've moved it in here, it's on again. So it's so tall. I won't move the camera because it took me quite a while to get you guys straight there. But it's actually about 2.5 meters high now. But the problem is the bit that I see when I sit here is quite bare. That is a very long way of saying I just wanted to push up the pot. So this bit down the bottom actually has some more foliage in it. So these guys are both going really well. This one's actually got a new shoot coming out of the top. I wasn't sure because the Rhaphi and I had such a journey, and it took me so long to work out its happy place. Although these are classed as an easy care plant, it's certainly, the Rhaphi hasn't been an easy care plant for me. So yeah, I was a bit nervous when I was taking these propagations, but even in winter, they've worked out really well. And as I said, there's a little shoot coming here. There's both of the propagations took, which I was amazed. I took 2 while I was on the ladder because I just wasn't sure. They've both taken really well. They've got really healthy roots. I'm going to leave them in here potentially even for all of winter because, as I said, I've got really good control over the moisture. It's a very chunky mix. And they're just like my other propagations or rehab plants. I'm keeping the mixture moist but not soggy. And it seems to be going really well, touch wood, and it's getting a nice amount of light. I'll turn the light on so you can see the nice bright light that the plants get there behind me when the grow light's on. So that's a positive story for winter. And as you can see, I don't know, it just fills out that pot nicely. I'm so excited. And if those propagations start growing really well for me, I'll take some more and I'll keep filling the pot up. And I'm also really keen to put some in my kitchen as well. I can see it growing up around the kitchen cabinet. It'd be really nice as well. The next plant that I wanted to show you, I'm surrounded by so many plants. Let's talk about the plant here that you guys can see in the camera. And then I've got 3 more on the ground that I wanted to talk to you about for winter. I'm sure I've shown you guys this before because this is definitely one of my favorite plants in my collection. You know how people do the if I could only have 10 plants video? This would definitely be one of those plants for me. So this is one of my Rhipsalis. It's the finest, definitely the finest one that I have. Ever since I transferred it over to semi-hydro in February, it has just gone bananas. It's got so much new growth. It's getting so much thicker. It's such an easy care plant. I've had this plant for at least 2 years now, so I'm really familiar with its watering habits. I wouldn't do this for many plants because ADHD brain, I absolutely need the visual reminder for water. So this is actually an unusual setup for me in that I've turned this cover pot, this doesn't have a hole in the bottom, into a self-watering pot. It has a really good reservoir, obviously, it's a really big pot. But I guess because this is one of my favorite plants, it's a plant that I'm looking at all the time. I see it every single day and I definitely remember to water it. This is a really easy way to set up a self-watering setup, just using a nursery pot in a cover pot. But I guess my word of warning with that is ADHD brain, or, you know, if you're busy and time poor, definitely do it for a plant that you can see all the time, because if this was in a different room or maybe not one of my more favorite plants, I probably wouldn't. But look at that. Wow. It feels like it's doubled in size this year, which is just amazing. When I first got it, even know, what's the smallest pot size that we get? I think it was in like a 5 centimeter pot. It was so tiny, and it was one of the first Rhipsalis I ever owned, so I didn't really know what I was doing, and it just, yeah, it goes from one strength to another. And the interesting thing with this, because the Rhipsalis are a jungle cactus, and they say not to put them in direct sun, but this guy is, the place that it's most happy is it hangs in a corner of our lounge room, and the corner, let me see, it's got windows both sides. So this window here is east. The window here, I'm just trying to do my sense of my direction, is north. But then also, so it hangs like this. But then also of an afternoon, so it gets morning light on the back of it. But then also of an afternoon, we've got the western sun that comes in. And I guess it comes through windows before it hits it, but it does get a decent amount of afternoon light, but through a window. That particular location that I talked about, I've tried many plants in that location. I've got it hanging in my macrame hanger, and I've tried a number of plants there, and they've often found it too bright. So my two plants that love that location are a Hoya carnosa that I'll show you in a minute, and this Rhipsalis, and they are both going really well. Look at that. I just absolutely love this plant. I've got a little propagation of it going, actually. I find, yeah, have you guys tried to propagate Rhipsalis before? I find it really slow. The next plant that's making me smile is one that I would never ever have thought. So this was a propagation. Actually, this is a propagation of a propagation that I got from Plant Club. So it's a Coleus. How do you pronounce it? Coleus? I'll put the name up on the screen. One of our lovely Plant Club people has this growing in her garden, sort of semi-shaded, a little bit of sun. It was about chest height when I saw it, and I was like, wow, that is amazing. And when she told me what it was, I thought, wow, that's actually the first time I've seen one that established. Normally when I've seen them in nurseries, they're just in tiny little pots, and I guess I'd never given it a second thought, but absolutely loving this plant. I've had it, when was the first Plant Club? May. I've had it since May. And this is the second clipping now. So I took a clipping from the clipping that grew, and this is now the second one. Same, it's just in my chunky mix with extra perlite. I've got it underneath the macadamia nut tree so that it's getting a lot of light, because I've noticed that these guys, I bought it in under the perspex, and it very quickly started losing some of its beautiful color, its sun stress color, I guess. So I put it back out under the macadamia nut tree, and it's just going absolutely bananas. So I'm thinking of some locations. I think maybe it would go well up here on this shelf. So where the Frizzle Sizzle is, it might be close enough to a grow light, but I really want to bring one of these inside, and I'm going to take another propagation to give to a friend who's looking for some plants for her garden. I would love some of these pops of color inside. So I'm just trying to think of a nice bright location to put it, because they definitely, just like the Frizzle Sizzle, seem to need a large amount of light. And water as well, actually. I'm watering this twice a week. At the moment, it's one of those plants that will definitely tell you the leaves get a bit floppy when it needs water. But this was a surprise plant to me that I'm enjoying this genus so much. So I look forward to bringing one of these inside and showing you guys how it goes. Next plant that's making me smile in winter is definitely my Hoya carnosa. Oh, I'm having trouble saying that. My Hoya carnosa. So my mum, bless, when I was just starting to get more interested in plants and try and learn about them more, she got me a carnosa for my birthday. And at the time, I hadn't even heard about Hoyas. I hadn't seen Hoyas. I didn't know anything about them. And it was a tiny little plant. I want to say it was maybe in a 7 or an 8 centimeter pot. And since then, I've propagated it. So, and I can't remember which one the original parent plant is. Once the Hoya went through that, oh my goodness, I'm having a complete blank today. There's a specific saying about Hoyas, 3 things about Hoyas and how they take a little while to get established. I'm going to have to put it up here, I'm sorry, because it's complete blank. But anyway, long story short, Hoyas can take time to establish. Just recently, I took cuttings from this one, and I'm just using it to make the pot a little bit fuller. So these propagations I've had in water, both of these ones, and then I've got some in the back here. You guys see some propagations I've had in here and some in here, and then finally the roots got big enough that I was able to put them in the pot. So I've been looking forward to that for a long time, because just like my Rhaphi behind me, these have just been one stem for such a long time. And I've been really keen to fill the pot up a bit. I'm not a trellis person. I'm not a moss pole person. So I really do enjoy plants when they vine. And so I'm looking forward to filling this pot up more, having it vining down. This one lives in our ensuite, and I had put it outside underneath the perspex because I was thinking, oh, I need to create more space in the ensuite underneath the grow lights because that's my only high humidity spot in this house. And the Hoya doesn't need the humidity. But you know what? The bathroom looked, I thought, so empty without it. It didn't feel as full or as jungle-ish. It just didn't feel right. I only left it out there for a few days and I brought it back in. So I'll make sure I put a photo up for you of where this guy normally lives. The ensuite feels like the ensuite again now that it's back, even though it doesn't need the humidity, and it is taking up a whole shelf that I could put a plant that does need the humidity. So the Cactus is back in our ensuite and growing really well, and the little propagations in the back. When I propagate them, and remember, I say it all the time, I guess, there's no one right way. This is what I do when I propagate a Hoya, the Carnosa anyway, is I'll just take some of the vine. I'll make sure that I have at least 2 nodes. So this is a node here, so the knobbly bit where the leaf joins on. Ideally 2 of those on the stem, but at least 1 because this is where your growth is going to come from. I put them in water in my propagation stations. I don't know if you've seen some of my other videos. I've got those cute little, I love them, there's a scientist in me, little test tube holders. So I just put them, make sure that the noddy bit is underneath the water, and I just change the water every 2 weeks or so, and then I wait until they've got a decent amount of roots before I put them into my chunky mix. And that has just worked really well for me over and over again, even in winter. But remembering I've got that semi-greenhouse perspex area, so that's where I sit them when I'm propagating them. They always sit out under that perspex area until they get those roots established, and then I just pop them into my chunky mix. Both of the Carnosas are just making me smile this winter, and I'm so grateful to have the other one back in the ensuite. Now the ensuite feels like the ensuite again. The final plant that is making me smile, I mean, all of my plants make me smile, don't get me wrong, but if I'm having to pick favorites for winter, this is definitely number 1 at the moment. This is one of my very recent purchases. It's my Philodendron Micans. The camera's just not doing it today. I did not know that I needed this plant until I got it, and it also, just like the Rhipsalis in that list of if I could only pick 10 plants, this is absolutely one of them. I love the color and the texture of the leaves, but also in a really short amount of time, look at all the new growth already. It's in a location that's a little bit lower light. It's in a south facing window, but it's a little bit further down on my ladder than some of my other plants. So it gets less light than some of the other plants higher up. So I was looking for a plant to be able to put in that spot that wasn't getting as bright a light, and it's just thriving now. I can't believe all of these new shoots already. When the new leaves come out, see they're that light, they're a light color. And then when they harden off and mature, they become this beautiful dark color with that maroonish, brownish color underneath. This is a plant that I'm just looking at every day and I'm smiling, and I'm so grateful to my friends for introducing me to it, because it's a plant that I didn't know I needed either until I got it. And it's definitely a plant now that I'm looking at every day and making me smile. So that is my favorite plant. My definite number 1 favorite plant for winter is my Philodendron Micans. If you've made it to this part of the video, thank you so much for sticking around. I really enjoyed spending time with you today and talking all things winter plants. I hope, as usual, that you've picked up a few planty tips and tricks along the way, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Until then, take care, and remember guys, you've totally got this.